Well, Ann Townsend and I have spoken a couple of times before about this problem, and I urge the representative from the Libyan embassy to talk to you about this, because I think you got a lot of good ideas, but I know that it's kind of been a difficult sell in this country.
I would also just add to that I think the Libyan promotion of tourism is an element of that, of Libya opening up to 1 million, a target of 1 million tourists by 2015 is probably going to be the best way for more people outside of Libya to see their treasures.
Well, probably the 8 most important museums in this country are dying for it.
Sure.
It's Libya that...
Thank you. We'll take one last question before Mr. Dittrich loses his voice.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joe Montville. David already introduced me. It's one of the veterans of the revolution, 69 to 71. I'm retired from the Foreign Service. I have absolutely no background in business, but I'm working with a Washington entrepreneur who has a lot of experience in strategic planning for tourism in Africa and other countries. And I'm quite passionate, actually, about Libya. I had the privilege of living in Bayda, in the Green Mountain, in Benghazi, and in Tripoli. And I used to marvel that I was actually paid to live in such a beautiful country. But I've been picking up and really benefiting from David's remarkable presentation on the social and cultural traditions and social conservatism. And my conception of a really effective and acceptable tourism strategic plan for Libya would be focused on historical or legacy tourism. I mean, there's an enormous amount of, as you say, Greek and Roman ruins are just unbelievable, but also on Libyan people, the tent. I once did some research on the Gaddafi's background, and he does come from a tradition that's traced back to Mauritania and of nomads moving back and forth across the North African desert. And there is a set of cultural and social values attached to that. And I think I was really impressed with David's analysis also on the popular committees, the Jamahir. There is some sense to it. Now, obviously, my buddy Ali is a little impatient with that traditional style. But as far as moving forward the modernization and the tourism and cultural side, the more attention and respect that is paid to the Libyans as a people with a history, mothers and fathers and aspirations, and tourism strategy built around that, in addition to going to all the wonderful monuments, but kind of minimizing the Club Med style of tourism. That could be one way of getting in and expanding. Respect has a lot of value.
Let me just say, if I may, and you may know who this is, Ollie, but one of the trips I've made back to Libya since it opened up for Americans in 2004 was as a guest lecturer aboard one of these cruise ships that went in, and they haven't always worked, but this one happened to do very well. We went to 4 different ports. And while we were in Tripoli, because everybody, most of the people signed on this cruise because they wanted to see the Greek and Roman ruins. But while we were in Tripoli, we also made an arrangement with some Libyan to take our group to the Karamanlis Mosque there. It wasn't during prayer time or anything, so we were the only people. And he provided a marvelous presentation to this group on Islam. And I'm reminded of this because Ali was has spoken here from this podium on Islam to American audiences. And American audiences need to hear about the religion and the culture attached to it, and they need to hear this from local people. And I would hope that those who are organizing these kind of trips to Libya do, as Joe has said, do something more than just seeing the ruins. Because for most Libyans, they make a rather sharp divide from the coming of Islam and everything that's taken place since to the Jahiliyyah, and the Roman and Greek stuff is part of the Jahiliyyah, and they don't really relate to it in the same way as part of their culture, even though one, maybe two Roman emperors came from Libya, but that's something else. So I would very much affirm that, and anybody who's going on one of these tourist trips, tell your tourist trip organizer that you don't want to just see Greek and Roman ruins.
I just quickly add a couple points to that. If you go to the old city in Tripoli now, you begin to see these very small hotels that I don't know who the owners are. I don't know whether they're true small businesses, but they're small hotels. They're very historically accurate. They add a lot to the restoration and the rehabilitation of the old city. And it's kind of an odd analogy, but if you look at what Laos has done with tourism development, there's a program of building and creating guest houses. You combine technical training, access to financing, to build facilities, guest houses, rooms that house maybe 10 rooms, and something like that I think would be very compatible with areas of Libya. And then finally, this month's Condé Nast Traveler, the February issue, there's an odd little article in there, the 10 most unusual places to stay, and one of them is a tented camp in southern Libya at an oasis, which I thought was very interesting to see.
Oh, there's clearly a lot of interest in this room in deepening access to Libya, both on a tourist level and an investment level, and I want to thank both David and Chuck for your role in increasing understanding and access to Libya, and I'm sure we'll be talking more about this in the future. Thank you all for joining us.